Hello dear learners, welcome back to my channel. Our today's video is going to be about View Resolver. View Resolver plays a very important role in the whole MVC architecture, as View Resolver helps you in resolving which view to be rendered on the browser or into your end user. So it plays a very important role. In our today's video, we will be talking about what exactly is View Resolver, what are the different types of View Resolvers, and then we'll see what exactly is Internal Resource View Resolver and how to implement it. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Now, View Resolvers are very important in MVC, as I said earlier, because they help us in resolving the views. So views in Spring are addressed by a view name that is returned by your controller code or your controller method, and that view name is resolved by the View Resolver. View Resolvers, as you can see here, are used to map logical view names to actual view implementations. So your controller methods or your request mapping methods would be returning a view names, and our View Resolver will be going ahead and actually finding the view implementations for us. Now, there are different types of View Resolvers which are available in the Spring MVC framework, out of which the first one is an abstract caching View Resolver. Then we have XML View Resolver. Then we have Resource Bundle View Resolver. Then we have Velocity View or Free Marker View Resolvers. And we have URL based View Resolver, which is again an important one. Our Internal Resource View Resolver, about which we'll be talking more. So if I have to go in further detail on each and every View Resolver, this particular table, as you can see, shows the different View Resolvers. Starting with the Abstract Caching View Resolver, this is a kind of View Resolver which is needed in cases when the preparation of your view is going to take time. There are a lot of components in your view, and generating the whole view is going to take time, and you need the view to be cached. Okay. So that is the case when you will be needing an Abstract Caching View Resolver in cases when you would want to cache your views. Okay. XML View Resolver again is helpful in cases when you have lot of different kind of views and you don't want to clutter everything into a single XML file. So what you can do is you can create separate XML configuration files, like as you can see here, we have an example of views.xml file, which is usually the default name that we give for XML files. So you can use such XML configuration files which have a same DTD as that of your main Spring configuration file, and you can use these files to mention your views. So then when the actual or you can say when the main XML configuration file detects a particular input view, it will go to these XML files and it will try to locate the actual view file. So this is primarily helpful in cases when you have lot of different types of views, lot of different types of page implementations, and you don't want to clutter all of this into a single XML file. So in that case, you can go for an XML View Resolver. Say Resource Bundle View Resolver is similar to XML View Resolver in the way that here also you mention your different view names, but these are not XML files, these are property files. As you can see here, views.property file. So that's why it is called as a resource bundle, because that is what usually property files are called. They are resource bundle files. So you can have various resource bundle files, and your resource bundle View Resolver can resolve to these property files and extract the actual file based on the view name. Okay. So here again, the way in XML View Resolver, our main XML configuration file will look for these other XML files and get the actual view file. Similarly, in this case, our main configuration file will look for property files like these, and it will try to identify which view file to be fetched. Okay, so that is what a resource bundle View Resolver does. Then content negotiating View Resolver is also very interesting, because here in this case, the actual file name comes in the request itself, and based on that the file is resolved. Or you use the accept header. What kind of data is the file going to accept? Is it JSON? Is it XML? Or is it some other format of data? So based on whatever is there in the accept header and what exactly is the file name, the content negotiating View Resolver will try to resolve what sort of output to give to the end user. So that's again a very interesting form of view resolver. Then we have URL based view resolver. Again, this is the most basic and the most simplest implementation, not usually directly used. You will see its subclasses getting used more than the actual URL based view resolver. But yes, it's a very basic view resolver wherein it is expecting a URL to come in the to the view resolver rather directly, and based on whatever URL that has come, the view resolver will determine the page and return it back. So it's a very simple, you give me the actual name and I'll give you the actual file. That's how it is. So it's very simple, not much used, and because the reason again, because it expects a very straightforward naming way, so that's why it's not much used. Again, the URL based view resolver has various subclasses, like a few of these are velocity view resolver, free marker view resolver, as you can see here. These are usually used when you want a velocity view or when you want a free marker view. Velocity and free marker are nothing but they are also kind of scripting languages, like they're very similar to, you can say, JSP. Okay, and these basically help you to generate dynamic pages. So you might have a velocity page or you might have a free marker page in your project. A velocity view resolver and or a free marker view resolver will help you in resolving these pages. Okay, so the extension is going to be different from that of a normal JSP page or a servlet. And in such cases, when you have such pages in your project, a velocity page or a free marker page, you can use it for resolving such pages. Okay. So again, very specific usage of these, especially for velocity pages or free marker pages. Okay, going further, we have the internal resource view resolver. Now again, this is the most used view resolver because this is like a default view resolver. Okay, and it will resolve always into servlet and JSP pages. Okay, with JSTL view and tiles view. So depending upon what kind of view you want, you can choose the view and accordingly show the pages. Most of the times you will see people using JSTL view only here, but yeah, you can also have tiles. Again, you can specify the view class for all the views generated by this resolver, and you can use the set view class method for that if you are doing this for using a class. Again, I would want you to see the Java docs for URL based view resolver, because that's again a very important class. So I want you to go through that, because most of these that you will see, the important ones or the most used ones are based on URL based view resolver. So again, understanding URL based view resolver is very important. Again, not just URL based view resolver, I would recommend you to go through the Java docs for all different types of view resolvers. You'll see a lot of examples there in the documentation. So it will be more easier for you to understand and implement these different view resolvers in your code. Okay. Now, going further to the internal resource view resolver, as I said, this is the most common one of all. This is you will see in most of the projects people use internal resource view resolver. So when developing JSP pages, we typically declare an internal resource view resolver bean. So again, you use a bean tag with an ID, with a class and various properties for creating an internal resource view resolver in your XML configuration file, your Spring config file, or whatever that you've named in your XML configuration file. It will be in that. Also, it is used for dispatching any sort of servlet or a JSP page, but most of the times it is used for dispatching JSP pages. So that is what, whenever you want to render a JSP page, that is when this is mostly preferred. Okay, internal resource view resolver. Also, it is always recommended, or you can say as a best practice, it is recommended that all your JSP files that you're creating, you put them inside the WebINF folder. So in our future video, we will be talking about the hierarchy structure of also when we actually start writing a project on this. There I will show you this WebINF directory. Usually it is recommended that you put your JSP files in the WebINF directory. Reason being, any file which is there in the WebINF folder cannot be directly accessed via the URL. Okay, so you cannot go inside your URL and say http://www.mysite.com/webinf. So you cannot access the WebINF folder from the URL. So it is usually considered more safe to put your JSP files so that they are not getting manipulated or they are not getting changed or whatever. So again, For safety reasons, it is recommended that you put it inside the WebINF folder. Okay. Further, if you have to configure the internal resource view resolver, this is how you do it. As you can see, it resides inside the org.springframework.web.servlet.view package, and the name is internal resource view resolver. Again, it is really case sensitive, and also the spelling has to be important because it's a big word. You need to make sure you're not making any mistake in that. So you can pause the video for a minute and just check out the whole path as well as the class name. It takes two properties here, a prefix and a suffix. Prefix basically tells you that where to locate this particular file. So this is basically a location. As I said, we recommend that you put your files inside the WebINF folder. So inside WebINF folder, we've created a view folder, and inside this view folder, we can keep our JSP files. The suffix is basically the extension of the file. So as you can see here, the suffix is .jsp. This is to tell that the file is going to be a JSP file. Okay. So this is how you use it. You will find some people also implementing HTML files or rendering HTML files using this, but that's not very preferred way or recommended way, as I would say. Primarily, if you want JSP pages, this is recommended. Okay. Now, in the controller method, that is the method which is written inside the class, you have a goodbye as the name that is written. This is basically the view name. So we have a view name, we have a view resolver, and both these together will form a whole URL. So if I have to write down this URL here, it would be something like this. We can say it will be /web-inf, okay, /view, and then we will say goodbye.jsp. So this is the actual path and file name that Spring is expecting to give you, and this is where it is expecting the file to be with this particular mentioned extension. So you can see WebINF view goodbye.jsp. This is how it will resolve the whole file name, okay, using an internal resource view resolver. Okay, so that is what is expected out of it, that it will merge both these things, whatever is mentioned in the prefix, suffix, and whatever the controller method returns. It will merge everything into a single thing and resolve to what file to be fetched and given. Okay, so that is how it works. Internal resource view resolvers are very simple to implement, very simple to use, very straightforward to use. So that is one of the reasons why it is used so frequently, or you can say so commonly. So that is it about internal resource view resolver. In our next video, what I'll do is I'll write a simple example, a very basic hello world example using views and using controllers. I would not want to start a model before showing you one example on using both these, a view and a controller, because that will be a more simpler example. Then we'll again talk about model, and then we'll write one more example using the whole 3 component Spring model and view. So what we'll do is in our upcoming video, we will write a simple example using just the view and the controller, our internal resource view resolver and a controller, and a simple hello world or a basic program we'll try to write. Okay, so that is it for today. If you like my video, please like my content, share it with your family and friends, and please subscribe to my channel so that you get notified whenever I'm putting up a new video, and you can explore whatever content that I'm sharing with you. That is it for today. Thank you. Bye-bye.